So let's start with your big news this week. You've launched a new podcast. You have decided to tell the world that you are officially leaving the Democratic Party, which is remarkable when you think about just 2 years ago, you were on the national stage vying for the nomination for that party. I mean, it didn't come as a surprise, I think, to most of us who have been following your career arc. But talk to me about your evolution. You know, like when did you go from the point of like, I don't relate to these people and they're bullies and we don't have a lot in common to I'm out of here?
Yeah, well, Megyn, I was 21 years old back in 2002 in Hawaii when very passionate about the environment. I decided to run for the state house in Hawaii, had never declared a political affiliation before then, and really started to think about which party do I want to, which box do I want to check on that form to file my election papers. And looking at the history of the Democratic Party, especially in Hawaii, I was inspired by leaders who were fighting for plantation workers who were working under terrible conditions, inspired by national leaders like Martin Luther King, President JFK. And I saw a big tent inclusive Democratic Party that welcomed people who held views across the spectrum on the biggest issues of the day, who stood up for civil liberties, who stood up for free speech. And it made sense to me to join the Democratic Party. The Republican Party in Hawaii especially had been the party of the elite, the party of the rich and powerful. And I was interested in being a part of a party that was fighting for the people and fighting to protect our environment. Fast forward over the years, you look back at when I ran for president in 2020, really living through what we are seeing now in like high definition and in extreme, which is how this Democratic Party of today that's controlled by fanatical ideologues through that presidential campaign as a Democratic candidate for president, they attempted to limit my ability to speak to voters, limit my exposure, and actively sought to undermine and smear my character and credibility in my campaign. This has not stopped. Anytime the Democratic Party leaders see someone that challenges their narrative, that questions the policies they're putting forward, rather than just saying, you know what, hey, I disagree with her, and here are the reasons why. Instead, they take those tactics of smear, destroy, cancel, work with big tech to censor because they don't stand for freedom. They don't believe in the Constitution and are actively seeking to undermine our God-given rights enshrined in the Constitution, freedom of speech, freedom of religion. They want to control the way we think. They want to control what information we see. And it got to a point where this is a party that I can no longer associate myself with because of the danger and threat that it poses to our country, to our democracy.
All right, so now you're a free agent. And that
Yes.
leads some to ask, where will she go next? Perhaps as an independent, as a Republican, you might throw your hat in the presidential ring for the other side. It's kind of exciting to think about that switch. And I want to bring you to an interview I had with a woman I know is your friend, Kristi Noem, governor of South Dakota, who came on this show. And I asked her about the two of you. I got a little sexist in my commentary. You won't be offended. Here it is. Watch.
Tulsi's a good friend of mine. In fact, when we were in Congress, we worked out in the mornings together, and she's a wonderful person. I was just texting with her a day or two ago about potentially getting together and maybe doing some messaging together, just common sense. Here are people with very different backgrounds, but we're both women that care about this country and recognize that the extremes are not getting us anywhere we need to go.
I mean, the thought of you and Tulsi Gabbard on the same ticket together someday is too much to bear. That would be so amazing. It would be A, the best looking ticket ever. And then, and B, just the brain power there. Because obviously you're considerably farther to the right than Tulsi is, but she's just a reasonable person. And she hasn't abandoned all of her democratic principles, but she's willing to compromise and willing to criticize her own side. And it would be exciting to see that happen in any shape or form.
And I think both of us have some scar tissue. I've been beat up by the left for many years, but I've also been beat up by the right, and they can be just as vicious as anybody else.
Oh, that wasn't really sexist to say you're both good looking. So that's fascinating. I mean, like, any interest in that? Any Is that tempting at all?
Christy is, she's a dear friend. And like she said, she and I were very disciplined and worked out regularly with our bipartisan workout group when we were back in Washington. And I respect her for the reasons that she talked about, a friendship that's based on respect, that's personal as well as professional, and understanding what's most important, right? It's these values and principles that we share as fellow Americans, and focusing on what are the things that we can do together, because there is so much there. I have no idea what the future holds, but Christy and I are keeping in touch, and we'll continue to try to find ways that we can help however we can to bridge the divides in America right now.
My God, it would be incredibly exciting. I'm gonna just maybe I'll try to dream it. Apparently, when I dream things, they come true, Tulsi. So I'll try to dream it. Now, the other possibility is that your old friend Nancy Pelosi decides to punch you in the face and tries to stop your future career as an independent or a Republican. And I know you've said before you're not sure what you're going to do in terms of registration, because this is apparently her thing. This is from January 6th. Prior to the Capitol being breached, CNN got this clip. The daughter was taken by Alexandra Pelosi, Nancy's daughter, because of course, when your mother's in peril, what you do is take out your phone and try to document it and then say, and on cue, act tough. And here's the clip being lauded by the left today.
Oh, he comes, I'm going to punch him out. This is my moment. I would pay to see that. I've been waiting for this, for trespassing on the Capitol grounds. I'm going to punch him out and I'm going to go to jail and I'm going to be happy.
Yes, Queen. What do you make of it?
That was the first thing. I didn't see that clip yesterday, but I saw some of the others that were being played. And I was just wondering, how is it that in this moment of peril that they're describing, that there's like a perfect camera angle and shot of all of the action? That was very strange to me, including what we just heard of. I don't know if I ever told you, Megyn, I grew up doing martial arts, so I ain't afraid of Nancy Pelosi. I got to tell you.
You're good. You have to watch out for her rhetorical punch in the face. It's just so ridiculous. Women still, a lot of my friends are Democrats, and they still love her. They talk about her like she is the queen. Like we've got Nancy Pelosi. She's so badass. And just from the stories you told me of what she did to you and some of these moments, it's really hard for me to just sit there biting my tongue. She's a bully, and she is not a nice person.
Yeah, you think about our democratic system, our democracy. You often hear people in Washington talk about the U.S. Capitol as the people's house, the House of Representatives as the people's house. The process and the control with which she exercises over the Democratic caucus and over the House, now that she's Speaker, is very undemocratic. She has total control over what bills come to the House floor. Any proposals of rule changes, which I and others tried to implement and get passed, which basically said, hey, if I, as a member of Congress, introduce a bill and I get, let's say, 100 co-sponsors or 120 co-sponsors, then guarantee that this bill will see the light of day on the House floor and get a vote, get an up or down vote. Leave it up to me to make the case to my colleagues of its merits and why they should vote for it. And if it fails, then that's on me as the person who introduced the bill. That was killed. That was never even considered within the Democratic caucus to turn into reality. And there are a lot of different other examples. And it's just unfortunate because every single member of Congress was sent to represent the voices of the people in their districts, their interests, their values, their principles. And yet the reality of how Congress is run couldn't be farther from that vision that our founders had for a representative style government and democracy. And that's what is lost. That's what's so wrong with Washington is you have people like Nancy Pelosi in charge, and they don't care about the people. They say, oh, we work in the people's house. But when the people come and try to knock on the door and say, hey, what about our voices? That those knocks are not answered.
That's right. Not if they don't completely align with her worldview. Exactly. She's not our president. She's not our, one dictatorial leader, but she acts like it. on the subject of you leaving the Democratic Party, to me, it's really interesting because I have so many friends in New York, Democrats, who have left the Democratic Party over the past 2 years, are toying with leaving. Last night I had dinner with some friends here in Connecticut, and one of the gals was saying how she's a lifelong Democrat. She voted for Joe Biden. She's never voted Republican before in her life, but she is really against this woke nonsense that's being shoved down the throats of our children at school. She's Jewish, and there's a lot of anti-Semitism in this woke movement. A lot of it. That's why there's so many Jewish people who have been pretty bold in speaking out about it. And I do think more and more you're going to see Democrats follow the Tulsi Gabbard lane. Like, I don't have to stay here. There's a way out. But how do they land it, Tulsi? Because how do people who are lifelong Democrats who still are pro-choice and, they like the social safety net and, all the things that made them Democrats to begin with, how do they walk away?
Walk away, period. Because there are things that you believe in or issues that you care about that, they may be more aligned with one party or the other. What I encourage people and what I said in my statement when I announced I was leaving the Democratic Party was I invited other Democrats who feel as I do, other Democrats who are absolutely sickened by this so-called woke radical ideology that is driving Democratic Party policies today. Walk away, become an independent, as I have. Recognize that you may be more attracted to policies that may come from one party or another party. Put the partisan stuff aside and just stand on your values, your principles, and the foundation of freedom.
Samantha from Arcadia, California is raving about Genucel's transformative results. She says, I love Genucel plant stem cell therapy. I've used it all over my face, under my eyes, and it cleared up the dry flakiness and even reduced my forehead lines. Someone even asked if I had work done. Nope, just Genucel. Thank you. Genucel has sold over 1 million products to women and to men across this country. Fine lines, forehead wrinkles, dark spots, sagging jawline, even those annoying bags and puffiness, gone without risky procedures. And with its immediate effects product, there are guaranteed results in as little as 12 hours or your money back. See the difference for yourself with over 60% off their most popular packages at Genucel.com. But it gets better. Go to Genucel.com/MK60 right now, and they will include the brand new Genucel Hyaluronic Acid Serum as a free gift. Powerful, moisturizing effects to brighten your complexion and further reduce the appearance of visible signs of aging. Plus, all orders will get free express shipping. Visit Genucel.com/MK60 to find out more. That's GENUCEL.com/MK60. Hey, thanks so much for watching. If you like what you just saw, hit the subscribe button for more clips and full episodes.